Okay, there we are. How are you doing, everyone? New York is open after a 3-day long weekend. So, let's see if they want to show us where they want to go, no? Welcome, everyone. Good to have you here. Good to have you here for another live stream. Elliott Waves is, of course, what we're going to cover. And yeah, in today's live stream, we are going to have a look at the higher time frames as well. But yeah, probably starting on a weekly time frame and then moving down into the lower time frames, which have proven to not be very easy to read. We didn't yet hit the 618, at least for a potential wave 4 and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got very close. We have both bearish CVD as well as bullish CVD. So it's a bit messy on the lower time frames. Got to be said, right? So therefore, sometimes it's better to zoom out, and that's why I like to start on the weekly time frame as well, and then move into the daily, the 4-hour time frame. Look at especially the levels where the probabilities. Yo, my webcam. I'm talking to the webcam. No one can see me. But especially also focus on the levels that invalidate certain scenarios or increase the probabilities of certain scenarios. And after knowing these levels, it can be used for potential setups and trades, no? Because that's eventually what we're doing in the market. It's about making profit in this market. So, yo, what's up? Good to have you here. Mendotev, Barbie, Adrian. How you doing? Flotty, Masekun, back to the charts. Always good to switch off. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I didn't really switch off myself. I'm just observing, seeing what price does. But yeah, the weekend is over, and so is Monday, of course. But for the US, I believe it was a holiday. So yeah, let's see what price is gonna give us. Now, Zandra, welcome again from the Philippines. Good to have you back. Hamza, I know you don't do all Bitcoin dominance. Might have a look at it later. I always got to be strict with these type of questions, because once you open the door a little bit and you do one request, you get 100 requests if there's like many people here, and then it's like, yeah. So that's why usually, you know, it at least it has to do with Bitcoin. So that's something. Sam, how you doing? Rob, glad I'm not the only one having problems counting the chart. Yeah, so it's not that the probabilities really changed as long as invalidation isn't hit. But it's not a very nice price action. Now, the move towards the upside here does have a higher probability of being an ABC to the upside. And that is because the highest amount of volume is in the high. 5-minute chart, 5-minute counting, it's not really my favorite, but in an impulse, you want to see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So another range, another high on lower volume. We didn't get that. Price retraced too deep and hit the 618. This is something that Pistachio, he is in chat. So I was doing some other stuff with regards to making videos about WXYs. And Pistachio wrote this in Discord. Then I checked, and yeah, the 618 is touched. Move up, highest amount of volume in the high. So, you know, the only bullish scenario is then a double 1-2 or a diagonal, but it's too early to call diagonals. And for a double 1-2, your second wave 1 is longer than your first wave 1 in price and time. Plus, your second wave 1 has the most amount of volume in the high, which tends to be wave C-ish. So, yeah, the probabilities locally remain higher to look for downside. So yeah, 1 second here. I'm actually gonna post this. I think oh yeah. I'm quickly gonna post this. Actually, what I just said, I was like, oh wait, that's actually some good info to share as well. So Wow, what a start of the live stream. So engaging. Such a pro streamer. Okay, there we go. Updated. Okay, so sorry for this, but yeah, what's up, guys? So yeah, Rob, morning, Errol 008 ZP Start Show. There he is, the legend himself. Hike BNB Kansen. What's up? How you doing? Guiliano, Crazy Potato, welcome. Ace winner, Hamza, Adrian, Christian, bye. So yeah, the probabilities locally here haven't changed with regards to the video, but patience, oh boy, man, like patience sometimes plays such an important role in trading. And that was the case for me this morning as well, just waiting, not having full clarity. But as explained, the probabilities just now, you know, when I read Discord, saw the post of Pistachio, checked it myself, and the probabilities remain the same locally. So bit of a price action. If you just jumped in, what I mentioned at the very start of the live stream, and we're going to cover that at a later stage, is you have on the 5-minute chart, I don't often find myself on this time frame, you have the highest amount of volume in the high. So in an impulse, you want to see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, wave 4, 5, one more high on lower volume, but we didn't get another high on lower volume. Instead, price moved down and hit the 618 that you take from the low of 2 to the high of 3, which is an invalidation for a wave 4. So your only bullish counts, because of the overlap, is a diagonal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but that's too early to call. Second option is a double 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 continuation, but your second wave 1 is longer in price and time than the first one, which does affect probabilities a little bit, and the highest amount of volume of your impulse is in the high, which is more something for wave C's compared to wave 1. Yeah, so probabilities would be hard to take the lows, but you still have bullish CVD over here, and you also still have bearish CVD here. So there's both bearish and bullish CVD. But yeah, your only bullish scenario would be a double 1, 2, but yeah, your second wave 1 is longer in price and time, so it just affects the probabilities for bulls and brings them closer to the bears, no? Okay, that being said, I have an alarm here at the low. I have an alarm a little bit higher. Let me move this one up, because we're going to zoom out to a weekly chart and we're going to cover the whole thing. Talk about everything in this live stream. Wait. Good morning from the beach. Nice one. Yeah, good morning from afternoon from the Netherlands. What's up, maybe a Band-Aid? I think my flat 4-2 might have been right. Possibly, yeah. Absolutely. Darpan Patel, I know. Volatility kicks in when we go live. No, that's what we like to see, though, a bit of action. Okay, I'm going to organize my folders to make sure that everything is prepped. Okay, we're going to cover the same as in the morning update. Of course, the US was asleep, but with new price action, especially as New York has woken up, we got some more local information, so that's interesting. So we're going to cover everything here. Didn't miss anything. Yo, what's up, JZ, Craig, Notto? How you doing? Bearish CVD from this. Yeah, bearish CVD. And also, so the bearish CVD here, lower high, mind you, the green candle has a CVD which is on the yellow line here, and as you can see, you have a higher high, right? So you got bearish CVD, and then locally with the higher low, lower low. So you know, it adds a bit to the confusion. A bit of bearish CVD on the 15 here, but okay, we're gonna zoom out. We'll talk about probabilities at the end again. Okay, shall we? So, okay, time to start. What is this sleep you speak of? I slept 5.5 hours last night. I woke up and I couldn't, you know, it was already, it's light so early in the Netherlands in summer. So I didn't feel like going back to sleep. I woke up, it's light. I went, you know, I did a whole count on gold, by the way. A full count on gold. Monthly, weekly, and daily. So I asked people in Discord, so before we start, let me at least say this. I asked people in Discord if people are interested for me to make a video about gold. Oh, by the way, I also announced the other partners with giving you some free money to trade with as well. You can find more info in the specific channels here. So I've done a whole analysis. Now 71 of you voted yes. So I'm going to make that video for gold. I did it this morning. It took me 1.5 hours to do a full analysis from the yearly, actually, yearly, monthly, weekly, daily. And yeah, I'll make a video about it. I have to move this to the downside. I still have to make that video. I'm going to move it all the way down. Ooh, lots of folders, as you can see, and move up. Okay. 15 minutes into the live stream, I see. And we're going to start with the analysis. Sibel Netherlands, welcome. Zed, how are you doing? Oh, Bill, good to have you guys here. Let's start. On the weekly time frame, your arguably bearish but eventually bullish scenario is this impulse to the upside, right? So you're still looking for higher prices in this scenario where you have a wave 1, 2, 3, 4 and a wave 5. Now in this particular scenario, preferably, your wave 4 is not yet finished. And you continue this range for a longer period of time. Now the common target for your wave 4 is the 0.236 to the 05 taken from the low to the high of wave 3, giving you a target between 62.2 and 49.3k. Preferably, your wave 4 ends after the 0.382 fib time, which is that first vertical line. As you can see, this low here was made before the 0.382 fib time. So in this particular case, you want to see a bigger three-wave structure, a bigger range before continuation at a later stage. Reason is that if we compare wave 4 in time with wave 2, which is a representation of the, you know, that's what the fib times represent. You take a fib time from the start to the end of 2 to the end of 3, comparing 2 with 4, you definitely want to finish wave 4 at least after the 0.382 as a bare minimum. Most commonly, a wave 4 is even longer than a wave 2, which would be ending after the 12th of August. Right? So that is something to keep in mind. That's still a couple of months, but the 382 would be a minimum. But that means that the bearish scenario on the lower time frames would be a continuation of the range, meaning a zigzag in this particular case that I have on my chart here. I also have a alternative, by the way. Let me put that in. So here we then have a zigzag to the downside in a 535. Now both of the bearish scenarios that I'm going to show you have some elements that do affect the probabilities negatively. In other words, the probabilities for the bearish scenarios are lower unless price can touch this high at 65.5. That's when probabilities increase. Now in this particular case, we have a zigzag A, B, C with a leading diagonal in wave A. And the reason here that the probabilities are slightly affected is because in the leading diagonal, your wave 3 is a little bit longer in price than your wave 1. So you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 diagonal structure, and it is very rare for wave 3 to be longer than a wave 1. It is not an invalidation, it's just something that is rare. Inside wave B, we move towards the upside three-wave structure, perfectly fine. Most common pattern in a wave B is a zigzag. 886 is a common target for B as well, so that's no problem. And then you want to see a wave C to the downside. A wave C to the downside has to be a 5-wave structure, and you do have to go past the golden pocket. And you can see that currently so far we have been finding support on the golden pocket. And interestingly, yes, the golden pocket is taken from the start to the end of A. So the 886 is touched, price moving back to the golden pocket. Now I mentioned when price touched the 886 here at 71.8k, we were already talking about it because we know, if you've been around this channel for a while, that interestingly, price very often after an 886 touch likes to retrace to the golden pocket. And the golden pocket is then a very important area for either support, in this case, and continue, or lose the golden pocket, increasing probabilities for more bearish scenarios. So actually this golden pocket is quite an interesting level, which is currently where we are bouncing and finding support at the moment. No? Now, if we are looking for a wave C, that means that on the lower time frames, we want to count impulsive structures to the downside. In this particular case, we don't have this going on. Now let me explain what you're looking at here, right? So we have our wave 1. Inside this wave 1, your wave 5 is an extended wave, which is actually rare. So you have a wave 1, 2, 3. Okay, that works, fine, right? Inside wave 4, we have a W, which is a flat, W, X, Y zigzag, so it's a flat X zigzag structure in a complex sideways wave 4, not touching the 0.618, which works as an invalidation for a wave 4, taken from the high to the low of 3. And the low of your 3, guys, is this. That's the low of your 3, not this one, that one, because you're counting a flat here. That's your W, right? And then you have X zigzag and then Y zigzag, right? So it's a sideways double combo. And then we have our wave 5, impulse down in a 1, you got your 2, 3, 4, and then your 5. This wave 4 is very short, very small compared to your wave 2, which is incredibly uncommon. But in the end, waves are not always textbook, right? It's not always what we see in the books as well. It's all probabilities. And from a probability perspective, yeah, this is not a grade 4 compared to a 2. But if we want to count this move down impulsively, this is currently the only option that we have, right? As far as the information that we have reaches, right? We can always at a later stage move into potentially a diagonal structure, but this is not yet relevant because we don't yet have a wave 3 that is finished. We are not moving up in a wave 4, and only once we got wave 4, that is when I start to look for diagonals, right? Because up till wave 4, other probability or other scenarios will have a higher probability. So the impulse to the downside, especially your final leg, is not ideal because wave 5 is the extended wave structure, which is rare. I mean, it's a valid impulsive move, but it is uncommon for wave 5 to be the longest structure. And we have a wave 4 inside 5, which is very short compared to your 2. Now, by all means, the move towards the upside has to be counted correctively. And during the weekend, we were looking at two scenarios. We were looking at a wave A, B, and a wave C, where preferably your high is finished. And we were looking for an impulse, where preferably you have a 1, 2, 3, sideways 4, and another 5. Wave 4 and wave 1 are not allowed to overlap in an impulsive structure. Now what happened is during the weekend on Sunday, price moved down, overlapped with the high here, invalidating this range as a wave 4. In a bigger impulse, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The only option you then have, actually two options, is either counting a diagonal in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 expanding diagonal structure, but an expanding diagonal is very rare, never preferred unless all of the other stuff fails, and it hasn't failed yet. And the alternative is a double 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, continuation up in 3, but you retraced, took the low of 2, invalidates. Second reason that it had low probabilities anyway is your second wave 1, right here. Your second wave 1 is longer in price and time compared to your first wave 1. So in other words, the moment we move down and hit the high here, the probabilities increased for corrective structures. Now it was a bit messy here, especially on the lower time frames, as many have experienced here, as this structure looked very much like a three-wave move. But the probabilities therefore are a bit more on the side for this to be a three-wave structure instead of an impulse. Now if this is a three-wave structure, probability-wise, it would increase probabilities to sooner or later look for possibly the lows at 66k. Now taking these lows, right, the probabilities would increase for price to take that low if price can touch the 886. It hasn't yet, right, and then we always keep an eye on the golden pocket, which is where we are at the moment, right. So if price would move to the downside, touch the 886, which is sitting at 66.6k, that is when probabilities will also again significantly increase to take this low at some stage. Now we might see the same again as on the higher time frame, 886, golden pocket, look for potential resistance, and then continue towards the downside. Something that we'll have to wait and see. Something that I'll be observing at least. Now the common target area for your wave 2 is between the 0.5 and the 786, right? The 618 to the 786 is on the chart as we pass the 05. So common target area for 2 taken from the high to the low of 1. And then inside 2, WXY, WX, and your final leg up in a wave Y. And this would be your most bearish option as you have a finished three-wave corrective structure. So, 1 second. I just want to check if I have the other scenario. No. Your alternative, which is not yet relevant, where is it, would be for a zigzag, a flat, and then another zigzag to the upside to create a higher wave Y and then move down. So if price does find the strength to move up, which at the moment it doesn't, once we are moving to higher levels, your most bullish scenario is going to be 1, 2, 3. Your bearish scenario is going to be WXY and then down again. But I'll talk about that in a second. Okay, so let's focus on what we have here first. So then high of 2, end of Y, looking for impulsive continuation to the downside. Where in the blue count, we then have a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in blue. And inside the blue 3, we have the white count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So eventually what we're looking for is a 5-wave structure to the downside, ending this wave 1, finding support, retrace in a 2, continue again to the downside in an even bigger wave 3. Your impulse to the downside from the high in that case has to be labeled as a 5-wave structure. We're going to talk about bullish and bearish probabilities in a second. If you just joined, we're first covering some of the bearish scenarios before moving into the bullish scenarios. And don't you worry, the probabilities will be mentioned. So if we're looking for an impulse to the downside, we have our 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 4 potential ABC over here. Here finished 0.618 invalidation for 4, taken from the high of 2 to the low of 3, not touched. Bearish CVD divergences here. With this first grind to the downside, we also had some bullish CVD, but as explained at the very beginning of the live stream, the moment over here price hit the 618, taken from this low to the high, the probabilities increase to look for the lows. So we're going to remain patient, see if price will make it, yes or no. Common target for 4, 0.236 to the 05, which is taken from the high to the low. Now we hit the 05, valid target, also hitting this order block over here and slightly touching this gap, by the way, as well on the 50-minute time frame. So we have a gap here. Bit of resistance. So preferably in an impulse, you're going to see at least a minimum of one more leg to the downside for then a second wave 1. Time for the bullish scenarios. Okay. Bullish scenario here, weekly time frame. a bigger 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 where your yellow 3 is not yet finished. So here we're still working on the sub-degree. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Preferably then your wave 4 is finished, right? In a bullish scenario, preferably that's your low and you move up. Common target for your wave 4 is hit 382.05 from the low to the high of 3. Invalidation 0.618 at 49.3. Okay, so if that is the low of your wave 4, then what we are looking for is continuation to the upside. And there's only two scenarios really that we can think about, which is what you see on the chart right now, an impulse with a very clear invalidation at 65.5k, wouldn't be great for the bulls, or a double 1-2, which also is actually not that great for the bulls, and I'll explain why. Let's start with this one, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Am I gonna? Yeah, I'm gonna say this. So it's not on the chart, but I've been saying this in the past a lot of times, so I don't repeat myself too often. But I do think it's important to mention that if we are looking here for a wave 3 to the upside, right, which internally should be a 5-wave structure, and we can count a 5-wave to the upside here, that's no problem. But preferably a wave 3, especially in a bull market, you would expect a wave 3 to be very extended, to be long, right? Move to the upside, minimum target, the 1.618. That's a target that we would like to see hit when we think about a wave 3. Now, the minimum rule in an impulse is that a wave 3 should be long, or should not be the shortest wave of a wave 1, 3, 5. So wave 3 can't be the shortest. Well, I mean, wave 3 is at least longer than wave 1. So we can check the box, right? The minimum rule is accepted. However, it is common for wave 3 to at least extend to the 1.618, as a wave 3 in an impulse is the most common extended wave. Longest, strongest, highest volume, biggest impulsivity, you know, the parabolic structures. That's what you're looking for in your 3, and it's relatively short. So that is interesting, right? That's something that we keep in mind as well. Now then, after a 3, we're looking for a 4. We want to see a range, and then another high in a wave 5 on lower volume, because what you can see is price moving up. The highest amount of volume is in the final leg to the upside. So in an impulse, we want to see a wave 4 and a 5 with a wave 5 on lower volume. If price moves towards the downside and overlaps with wave 1, it invalidates this bullish scenario. And if we do, the only alternative you really have left would be a double 1-2, right? Because the other one would be a diagonal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but that's going to be an expanding diagonal. Expanding diagonal, never preferred unless all of the other stuff fails, because it is so rare, especially on the higher time frames. So a double 1-2 is then going to be your highest probability bullish scenario, even though it's not that great. So we have a 1-2 and then a second 1-2, right? Moving towards the upside. Common target for your wave 2 is the 05 to the 786, 66k to 62.6k. 382 is uncommon for 2, 886 is very rare for 2. You don't want to hit that 886. And as you can see, we actually just missed out on hitting the 05, so just missed out on hitting that common target area. So preferably in a double 1-2, you actually still move to the downside. But anyway, even if you do, you're going to hit the high very likely and invalidate that other bullish scenario anyway. So then this one is left. Now, why the probabilities for this scenario are not too great is because your second wave 1 is longer in price and in time compared to your higher degree wave 1. It is not an invalidation of a double 1-2, but it does affect the probabilities. So in an impulse, we have the higher degree green count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then inside wave 3, we have the blue count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So blue is a lower degree. Preferably in a lower degree 1-2, your second 1 and second 2 is smaller in time and price. So you have your big 1-2, smaller 1-2, maybe a third one, 1-2, and then lift off, right? Then you get your wave 3 to the upside. But here, this wave 1 is longer in time, take a fib time from the low to the high of 1 to the low of your first 2, toggle on the 1-to-1, wave 1 in blue clearly finished after the white 1-to-1 here. Take a trend-based fib from the low to the high of green 1 to the low of your green 2, toggle on the 1-to-1, pass the 1-to-1. Right, so longer in time and price reduces probabilities for a double 1-2. So in other words, the moment you move down and you touch this high at 65.5, the bearish scenarios on the higher time frame will immediately gain probability compared to the bullish scenarios, which therefore means either you're going to move down impulsively for a wave C, where your target is going to be below wave A, right, in a zigzag for an A, B, C to the downside, 56k minimum. By the way, let's put the target on the chart. I mean, it's not on my chart, so let's just let's do that quickly. From the high to the, and then your wave C in a zigzag, remove that, and then we have 0.618. That's your common target. So your common target is between the 1 and the 1.236. Make it green because we like to color code everything here. Okay, nice. And that is your common target area for a wave C. 54.6k to 50.5k. Inside this area we have a blue support box, 51.9 to 51.6k. Your other scenario, which will gain probabilities, is a WXY, where we have a regular flat in W, X, and then a Y, and we just took the low. This one, invalidating a double 1-2, adding more probabilities to taking this low. I love it when local probabilities play out, as mentioned in the beginning of the stream. So, also cheers to pistachio, by the way. So here we have then our W, X, and then Y. Inside Y, you can only look for 3 structures. You're going to be looking for a zigzag 535, which would be 5-wave move as explained earlier, 3-wave WXY, 5-wave move to the downside. Target area is your box here, 0.618 to the 1.236, 63.1, 54.3. Alternatively, a flat A, B, C, wick the highs including the all-time high and then move down impulsively, which would actually be very interesting, of course, as a great fake out, but we need to first see strength locally in order to move up. Or a triangle, which is the least common structure in a wave Y. You also see time here. The 0.382 is taken from the start to the end of W to the end of X. So preferably a wave Y finishes after the 4th of June. So if you have a zigzag to the downside here, a 535 structure, and then we start moving to the upside to invalidate a bigger 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we can't label this the end of a wave Y. It's too short. It would have low probabilities, right? So then we have to think about a potential flat in a wave Y. Not yet relevant though. Extension target is the 1.618, 48.9k. So if price moves down and hits 65.5, probabilities for the bearish scenarios increase, where the zigzag has a target below wave A. In that case, we look for impulsive continuation. And in a wave Y, you're going to be looking for a zigzag, likely going to be too short, so possible a flat there. Okay. Bullish scenario locally is, did we actually now take the low or did we not take? No, we didn't take the low. We might get the same story again. So we touched the 886. Let's see if price wants to hit the golden pocket again. Gonna put an alarm there. See what happens. So, okay. Now in the bullish scenario, right, not yet invalidated because you need to take the low. We then have a 1, a 2, and look for upside in a wave 3. Wave 1 has to be a 5-wave structure, so you have to count it 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a wave 5. As explained earlier, it's definitely not an ideal 5-wave structure, as preferably we would have seen another 4 and a 5, but we have to roll with it. We don't really have another option. Your only alternative is putting wave Y here, which then leads to a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 overlap between 1 and 4, creating a diagonal, but that's an expanding diagonal, never preferred unless all of the other stuff fails. So therefore, preferably inside your wave 2, you're looking for a flat in a wave A, B, and then a wave C, where wave C is a 5-wave structure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ending wave 5 in a common target area here without hitting your 886 at 66.6K, and then move up. Target area 67.5, 66.9K, taken from the low to the high of your wave 1. The only bit of support we really have here is the order block in combination with a bit of volume of this previous range. So yeah, there is a little bit of support, but yeah, you want to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, finish 5 in here, and then move towards the upside. So you definitely want to see a retracement before touching the 886. Touching the 886 and any move to the upside has a higher probability of being a wave C or a wave Y, which increases probabilities to sooner or later take the low. Because if we are looking for an impulse, right, 1, 2, 3, the 886, very, very rare for a wave 2. So probabilities are much higher to take the low in that case, which means the probabilities are going to be higher to have overlap with the high here at 65.5K, as there's not too much space left, and neither is there a lot of support here, which then in turn increases probabilities for the higher time frame bearish scenarios as well. So in other words, you don't want to hit the 886 at 66.6K if you're bullish. And this is your bullish scenario. Right, so we then have our wave A, wave B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, preferably making another low here for wave C, which we have almost done, but just missed out on doing. And it has to be said that your wave B hit the 1.618 Fibonacci, taken from the high to the low of A. And the 1.618 is a rare target for wave B. It's very uncommon for B to hit this, as the common target for an expanding flat wave B, as that is what we're looking for, 3 wave A, 3 wave B, 5 wave C, is the 1.236 to the 1.38. The 1.618 is a target. It's just an uncommon target. Right? It's a rare target. So it impacts probabilities, but the scenario is not invalidated until you take the low. So that is why proof of support in the area here is going to be very important, and that 886, right? Touch the 886 and probability is higher to sooner or later take the low, which might increase the probabilities, or likely increases probabilities for higher time frame bearish scenarios. With regards to the CVD, we had, I'll show it as well. We had bearish CVD here, and we had bullish CVD as well. So on the 15-minute, price moved to the downside, and here you can see CVD moving to the downside sharply, creating bullish CVD with the higher low in price, lower low on the CVD. And if you then zoom out, then what you'll see as well is bearish CVD. So this green candle on the yellow chart has this level, right? That's your high. And you can see that on the right side of my horizontal cursor line, the yellow line, can you actually see that, or is no, you can see it. My webcam is not in there. So you can see that the yellow line moved above the cursor, right? The cursor line, this pivot here, which is then a bearish CVD, a lower high, higher high. So we have both bullish and bearish CVD divergences going on locally here. Adding to the confusion, as price here was moving to the upside, almost touching the 618, it just didn't. So yeah, and on the just to repeat what we said at the beginning of the stream. So when we started, the stream price was here, and we touched the 618. Which is taken from this low to the high. And if I open the volume, on the 5-minute chart, you can see the highest amount of volume is in the high. Now that can be a wave C or a wave 3, preferably one of those. Now in a wave 3, we actually want to see another 4 and a 5, right? But wave 4 retraced too deep, touching the 618 over here, invalidating a wave 4 for a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave impulse. Because you then have overlap as well between your 1 and 4 and your wave 4 is invalidated, your only bullish scenario would have been a diagonal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it's too early to call diagonals. We don't have that information. We need to wait for a wave 4 to be in, or a double 1, 2, which is a 1, 2, 1, 2 continuation, where we now took the low of your second wave 1 in that case. So a double 1, 2 has lower probabilities as well. And counting something like a 1 and then somehow a flat in 2 continuation, in that case we've now touched the 886 as I've just shown as well. And we might actually move up again to the golden pocket, as price likes to do. So we touch the 886, which now does increase, and it's all probabilities, right? We don't know, it's all probabilities. But it does increase the probabilities. Any move coming off the 886 has a higher probability of being a wave C or a wave Y, which does increase the probabilities to sooner or later look for the lows. That is your typical 886 probability in Elliott waves. No, I'll remove this alarm before you hear it. Never mind. So we now touch the golden pocket again after an 886 touch. So yeah, let's see what happens here. But yeah, basically, because price retraced to the golden pocket here, it increased the probabilities for price to move down. Bit of a bounce to the upside. New York opening, got to move towards the downside, and we'll take it from there. No. So if we then talk about the probabilities of the different time frames, then on a what time frame are we going to start? Look, on a weekly time frame, both of the scenarios are bullish, right? So on a weekly, you're still looking for a continuation of the trend, so that is not too interesting. On a daily, the moment you hit 65.5, probabilities increase for bearish scenarios, either the zigzag or the WXY, right? So hit this level, and that will increase probabilities for bearish scenarios. As long as you don't hit that level, arguably your bullish scenario would have a higher probability. It's just that now locally, as long as you don't hit the 886, it's good for bulls. But the moment you touch the 886 at 66.6K, probabilities will be reduced. And very locally here, the probabilities are now higher to take the lows sooner or later because of your 886 touch, and any move up has a higher probability of C or Y. It's just probabilities. That's your typical 886 probability. If this is the end of a corrective structure and we are looking for impulsive continuation, then we're either looking for an impulse, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a diagonal, which is too early, or a double 1, 2. A double 1, 2 is invalidated. A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is also invalidated, leaving a diagonal, but it's too early for diagonals. And any move up, you touch the 886, has a high probability of C or Y, increasing probabilities to take the low sooner or later, if we do. So yeah, and then it's all about looking for support. So it's a bit of a probability weighting game, I suppose, where yeah, you didn't invalidate the bullish scenarios, but locally this move to the upside, and I can't deny it, and I've said it does count a bit better as a three-wave structure compared to an impulse. But we haven't touch the 886 just yet. So I don't want to be too early there, and I wait for local information to confirm that bias of, hey, A, B, C, W, X, Y, and you know, if you do take the low here, the probabilities are higher to move to lower levels. So the levels that impact probabilities is touch the 886 at 66.6k, and the probabilities increase to take this low, increasing probabilities to hit this high, increasing probabilities for bearish scenarios on the daily time frame, which increases the probabilities for the weekly scenario where your wave 4 is not yet finished. So that is the impact of what's happening on the lower time frame. Locally, 886 touched, probability is higher to sooner or later take the low, and we'll see if probabilities play out. Yeah, there's no certainties, only probabilities. If we do then move to the downside, you only have your 786 left, right, which is still in confluence with the order block, by the way. So you're at support now, as long as it's not lost. Support is support till lost. So, and there we go, your value area low. Which would be a bit of a final, on this time frame here, it's actually the point of control. And then we have another one here. So that's your final area of support. That doesn't hold. Then yeah, see you at lower levels. Kevin, the 618 locally was taken from this low to the high because you were then looking for an impulse 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you're checking 2 with 4, taking it from the low to the high of 3. 618 touch here invalidates a wave 4. So let me leave this on the chart, and also keep the 886 on the chart. Oh yeah, also keep the 886 here on the chart. Yeah, take it level by level. So that is Elliott waves. Yesterday, I gotta say, man. So when I woke up this morning, I was actually pissed. Not because I had a loss or a win or was in a trade, but last night when I made my video, first of all, price moved down during my first recording, so I had to change everything. So I had to record twice. But in my probabilities, I initially wrote bearish, moving below 68.1k. And then I chickened out. I was like, nah, I don't want to be that guy that's gonna be bearish. Like, let me just talk about, okay, if we move down, then probabilities change, and if we move up, probability. And then I wake up here at about 6, and there we are below 68.1, and I'm like, fuck, I should have just trusted my gut and just put it in the video. Of course, there's always a bit of pressure on content creators. You're making videos, there's many people watching, and there's always a pressure with sharing probabilities. I've been doing it for a year and more, over a year. So luckily, by far most often, we are on the right side. But sometimes I'm a bit neutral, but my head says, okay, last night it was my head says, Probabilities higher to move down. That when I saw this move here, I was like, but I chickened out in putting it actually in the video, and then next thing you know, you wake up and it's down here. Okay, by the way, we do on the 4-hour time frame still have bullish probabilities. We have a bullish here, we had bullish here, and now I believe we still have bullish there. That is, however, the third divergence with the same pivot, and the more divergences you have with the same pivot, the less they can be trusted. It's all probabilities. Your first divergence here is the most trustworthy, higher low, lower low. Second one, price coming down here, again, lower low on the CVD, higher low on price. Second one played out as well. Now you're coming down and you're still, like CVD is still ranging below this pivot CVD here, right? Still lower lows. It's just that with CVD, I now very much prefer to only look at CVD divergences here locally. I'm not interested in the higher time frame CVD because it's the third CVD with the same pivot. And the more often you have CVD with a single pivot, the lower the probabilities become for it playing out. Again, it's probabilities, but I prefer to keep an eye on what's happening locally. And yeah. Oh, and also let me put the 618 actually on the chart. This 618 is also important. This 618 invalidates a wave 4. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Over the weekend, it was very clear the probabilities were higher to move to the high. So we got that move up. We hit resistance, which was the value area low of this range. I might have to, oh sorry, the value area high, low, this one here. So clear area of resistance. But during this move to the downside here, right, like, and then this structure, potential impulse almost hitting the 618, I wasn't involved. I had a small loss here though before I went to bed. Shouldn't do that actually. Luckily past weeks have been incredibly profitable, but it's just a stupid mistake. So I had like a 0.5% or 0.4% loss there. That happens. Should have just gone to bed. Probably people will recognize it. If it's late at night, you're laying in bed, you should just leave the charts and you know, there's always another day. But yeah. So that's it. Time for chatting and Q&A. Okay. When did we start? I think 15 minutes, no? I know. I mean, I can't complain. It's been a great few weeks. I actually did write an important post in Discord in the setups channel about trading. So one second. Yeah. So when price was at the high here, I didn't really have too much clarity at that moment in time. Like, okay, we're moving up. We have some volume increasing. You know, I'm not too sure. And then what I wrote is this. So more of a personal thing, but it's interesting, maybe for you as well. As you get to know yourself as a trader, when I don't have a very clear count on local price action myself, because I also sometimes get questions in DMs about psychology, right? So I tend to talk about it. That's why in the title of the stream it always says psychology. So I said, when I don't have a very clear count on local price action and I'm a bit in the middle, I can feel unease, I can feel doubt, I can feel unsure. I want to act, but I don't have a clear idea just yet, right? So sometimes the charts are very clear and sometimes they aren't. The clarity moments are the tradable moments that pan out well. Enough of these the past weeks that were traded nicely. Probabilities to the upside yesterday played out as well. However, this sharp move down, creating a low, seeing some bullish CFDs locally, which was when price was approaching the 618 as well, and then retracing a little bit, possibly invalidating a wave 4 if it actually hit the 618, can create a bit of confusion. At such moments, it's not easy for me to act, right? I want to remain patient, though I will continue to observe what happens. If you've seen the summary over the past weeks in the koenztrading channel, which is public by the way, you'll know that profit isn't a problem. What's most important is clearing in the setups to take and then manage them well. Elliott Waves gives you great strength to manage positions nicely, keeping an eye on volume, CVD, and waiting for ranges to form to give clarity. A scalp/intraday trade can easily move into a swing for a couple of days or even weeks, because Elliott Waves makes it easier to create those swings, in my opinion. However, right, in all cases, clarity first. I never mind missing moves up or down. It's not my move if I didn't have clarity before. I'm a trader, not bound to price of an asset. I'm bound to its percentage movement up or down, which basically means I don't care where price is, I will trade it anyway. 100K, 10K, 80K, 70K, 60K. I know there will be a great setup later again. Example, I didn't short 71K, but I did short 70K when clarity came and the daily naked point of control was a great target to enter. You may remember, perfect setup. I did it long the exact first time low hit the 56K levels, but I did long 57.6K as strength came in, price was grinding upwards with bullish CVDs. So have a plan, have a count, stick to it, trade it. I continue to explain potential ideas and setups based on Elliott Waves. In the end, it's all about the reaction and if your entry criteria are met or not. And then, yeah, this is because of the DMs as well. If people experience this, it's normal. Price will show what it wants to do and will sooner or later give clarity again. Patience is one of the greatest skills a trader can have. Arguably, risk management is on par with that. Together, they can create a very strong foundation to be consistently profitable. Very long text. But psychology. And that I wrote it when price was here. So it didn't yet touch the 618. Over here. I wrote it as price was moving down. Okay. Oh. It's raining, yo. Let's see what where we are. ABC 66 to 70K. Yeah, that has arguably the highest probability. I mean, not all the way here. I would then count a WXY instead of an ABC. Based on the subwave structures though. Could locally this impulse down from 70K also be the C wave of a flat? Covered this one, so the answer would be yes. Of a larger WX up. Yeah, I only covered it shortly, but that would be your bullish, but then still bearish scenario. So yeah, you then have your W, flat in X, and then a wave Y, where you want to see a zigzag up. But unless you see local strength, that scenario won't have the highest probabilities at the moment. So it is one to keep in mind. If price, right, first of all, takes a low would be nice to then create a 5-wave structure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If price finds support and moves up, your bullish scenario naturally is going to be 1, 2, 3. Your bearish scenario is going to be WXY and then down again. So that's going to be the two options that you're going to consider, and then based on the structures, you know, you'll take it from there. Do you think we might still be forming a wave 4 at the moment here? Yes, until invalidation is hit. Right, yeah. Sounding from the wait, 21st of May. Oh, sorry. Oh wait, from here. I mean, your invalidation isn't hit. It's just that if this would be, so in your wave 4, preferably that's your low, and you want to see impulsive structures up. A little bit of the issue is that this counts better as a 3-waver. And if we do look for a flat in an ABC for a wave 2 and then a 1, 2, 3, your wave A, B, right, your B here, hit the 1.618 fib taken from the start to the end of A. And that is a rare target for wave B. So it does impact probabilities. So, once you hit 65.5, that is of course when a lot more clarity comes in. But taking it level to level, of course, local 886 hit, higher probability to take the lows sooner or later. That's all probabilities. And if we do, then we have one more area of support. And if you hit the 886, probabilities significantly decrease for a bullish count of the 66K low. It's very much a patience game at the moment. Yeah, I heard about that one as well yesterday with the move to the downside here. I have a count where we've seen an extension from 39 to 73 based on this and volume. 73K might represent a long-term top. There is I have a scenario as well for that, but it doesn't have the highest probabilities unless you first start to lose levels to the downside, which means, first of all, you want to hit 49.3K. Secondly, you want to hit 43.5K. Third, you want to take the low at 38.5K, or was it 39.5? I think 38.5K. But I do have a scenario at least on the weekly, which is a more bearish one. But we would first need to lose significant levels before I would put that on my chart. Yeah. $40 off all-time high. I don't trade line charts. I always used candlestick charts, and overlap on the candlestick charts has always served me very well. So overlap between a 1 and a 4 for me invalidates, even if it's wick on wick. So I then prefer to count structures differently. It's also the most used, like Elliott Wave, like candles, I suppose, to count Elliott Waves with. I've once had a question about using Heikin-Ashi candles, and I guess if someone is experienced, you can definitely count Heikin-Ashi candles. But for me, if I try to count it, I miss information, because I probably wouldn't see this range because it's just green candles. So I would miss this here. And this it could be a wave 4 if you count 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, and then you look for a final 5. Yeah, triangles at the moment. So I'm never a big fan of triangles unless wave D is in. And so if we look for a bigger triangle, right, then in this case, we would then have you have your A, potentially then your B, and then look for a C, and then D, and then E. I'm not a fan here. So a couple of rules that are important to know. A triangle, right? 4 out of 5 waves need to be a zigzag. Simple zigzag, by the way. So that's an ABC up or an ABC down. If one wave is complex, it's by far most commonly wave C or D, and not any of the other waves. C and D is then a double zigzag or a triple zigzag, as all of the waves in a triangle have to be a zigzag family pattern. Wave E can also be a triangle, but that's very rare that it becomes. And then you actually have to count it: A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. Like actually, you continue. But this move down here doesn't count nicely as an ABC. It counts better as a WXY or an impulse in that case. even though a WXY is a nice count here. So a bearish scenario would be a flat ABC in that case. So we would need higher prices for B as you want to see the 0.9 hit, which we haven't at the moment. So in that case, preferably you do find support, you know, just grab the liquidity, find support, and then move up. However, in a triangle, your wave A, you know, should be a simple zigzag in a 5-3-5, and yeah, it's not great counting this as a 5-3-5. Second, this move up, wave B, should also be a 5-3-5. In that case, 5-3 and a 5. But we know that the first move up doesn't count that nice as an impulse as well. So, and let me give you a tip. If you think about triangles, or if you are considering a triangle, always just wait till a wave D is in. Because before wave D, other structures will always have higher probabilities, like a flat, a WXY, zigzags, until wave D is in and confirmed a non-impulse, as you want a three-wave structure. That is when a triangle becomes relevant, and then one can trade wave E to then break out the triangle. But it makes no sense to start thinking about triangles. So I did mention in the updates that if we move up, like, do I have to think about triangles or something? Like, what is the PA in that case? I would if we move up, there's going to be 3 scenarios. I don't want to make things too complex, but of course your bullish scenario is a 1, 2, and then a 3. You have a WXY, which would be bearish, and then a wave A, B, C. So that's then going to be that. Preferably actually A, B, C, by the way, because in a WXY you already, did you hit the 0.7? I don't think so. No, you didn't. So the 0.7 isn't hit yet. So a double zigzag is still an opportunity. If you hit the 0.7, it reduces probabilities for a double zigzag WXY. So then you would need to look for a sideways WXY, but then you don't really get high enough for a flat. So preferably you don't hit the 0.7. Hitting that 0.7 wouldn't be too great for a move up. What's up, Adam? How are you doing? Wave C of wave 2, 65k, ending diagonal wave 5. Yeah, so here, this is the same thing. Talking about diagonals before a wave 4 is in, it has very low probabilities. You need to wait for a wave 4. Because before, so I understand what you're looking at. You're going to be looking for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, first of all, if you do get that move down, it's going to be an expanding diagonal, which is rare, never preferred, unless all of the other scenarios fail, which isn't the case at the moment. Second, your wave 4 is not yet finished. So unless a wave 4 is finished in a proven 3-wave structure, as a wave 4 has to be a zigzag family pattern. It can't be anything else. So up till that moment, other scenarios have a higher probability, and it is going to be an expanding diagonal, which therefore already reduces probabilities of a bigger 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 diagonal to end a bigger 5 and then get a bigger retracement. So that's the reason why I don't look at the diagonal at the moment. It doesn't have high probabilities. But it's a nice idea. Of course, I spoke about it in the analysis as well. I also spoke about the bullish CVD. It's a third CVD, so I don't look at it on the 1 hour. I would recommend to only look at the very local at the moment. Because the 1 hour, this pivot already had one bullish CVD that played out, a second bullish CVD that played out, and the more CVDs, now you have a third one. With the same pivot you get, the lower the probabilities of it playing out. So therefore I prefer to just locally look at CVD here and observe the price action when you talk about CVD. The scythe in your video said, yeah, I got, man, Kevin, I got to say, last night, yeah, I was so tired, right? Like, I was so done with analyzing the charts and like making the video, and then price decided to move down and I had to redo the analysis or parts of the analysis and then redo the video because of course things changed. I started the recording, price dumps, I end the recording, I'm like, you know, I now have a scenario in the video like it was an impulse, right? If you're looking for an impulse, which is now invalidated, so you know, out the window it goes. I was like, you know, the NPOC. Wait, yeah, so we did have an order block here, but I didn't have a naked point. Mine is higher, 69,650. Oh, or you mean maybe the range point of control? No, the range point of control is lower. Yeah. Oh, well, some people use different charts as well on Atos. The Oracle had said that it was going down. My lesson, listen to the Oracle. I know, right? What did my wife say? I think she said down, but where did she say it? So was it at the high? I think it was, no? She said down when we were almost at the high. 4 out of 4. My wife, by the way, has no idea about trading or where Bitcoin is on the chart and what the price is. But sometimes we ask her, yo, is it going up or down? And she's currently 4 out of 4. So there you go. Flip a coin. You might just win. Okay. Anything else green today except Solana? Bonk. BTC2 USDT. CHZ. Coinbase. LPT. Mara. It's very small percentages. Ori. Riot. SHIB. TIA. LOL. What's up, Stefano? How you doing? Market maker being greedy, yeah. Up, down, up, down. Yes. Correct, maybe a band-aid. Cheers, Rob. Yeah, I only shared that part in the setups channel, as that's of course where we you know, that's where I talk more or actually in detail about, hey, there is a potential Elliott Wave setup. There's a potential trade here, and I explain the reason why. So the setups channel is there to help people to learn how to trade Elliott Waves. So when there is a setup or a potential setup, why is there a potential setup? And then based on the local reaction, you know, I never say if I enter or not, because I don't want to influence people. You know, like I'm very much someone that thinks I will teach you how to fish, but I'm not really in a position where I'm gonna give fish. You know, I'm not really that type of guy. I want to help people, but I want to help people to trust themselves and their analysis. And people know Elliott Waves, or they're studying Elliott Waves, but a lot of people struggle to trade Elliott Waves. So in the setups channel, I share ideas that I keep an eye on, and I explain why that setup might be interesting. And then of course I have my own reasons for entering, and maybe someone else has their own reasons, because I don't enter every position. But it's definitely setups that I'm interested in, and I explain why, so that people learn, okay, so hey, this is an interesting position apparently from an Elliott Wave point of view, because oh, the volume is this FIB level is hit, you know, this is the context, this is the 4 hour, this is the, so hopefully people, by repeating this enough, will understand how they can eventually trade Elliott Waves themselves. The more repetition you get of someone that shares those ideas and those insights and also trades Elliott Waves himself, hopefully that repetition will eventually cause will eventually help people to recognize these opportunities themselves. Vladislav Boktashkin, what the mouse story ended with? Oh, you mean so I'm still using the one of my wife, which is the MX Master 3, because she got a new MacBook, so she can't, there's no USB port in there. And I have a Acer Predator Triton, and like the whole setup here is Acer pretty much. And I use her mouse. I am interested in an MX4 if it comes out though, but this one works. And as long as she doesn't need it, and this one works, I don't really want to buy something new. I'm always that guy that I only buy something when it breaks down. I have no problem, of course, buying fun stuff. Like I don't have in-ears, like wireless earphones. And I'm waiting for the Sony WF-1000X6 or something, like the newest one. Should come in around July, August. So, I have no problem buying new stuff. But when I got stuff, I prefer to use it till it's finished. So, and this mouse is great. It's a great mouse. I very much enjoy it. It's nice as well, fits my hand. So, I'm happy. I had a wired mouse, but having wireless, it just cleans up the desk. I also have wireless keyboard, which is great. So the MX4 looks pretty... wait, I haven't actually... Is there already an MX4? I haven't checked. The news. Is RSI and CVD the same? No. So RSI is a momentum indicator. It's a lagging indicator, as it's also called. While CVD is what's the opposite of a lagging indicator? like it gives you information right now. Like you see what happens in the market now. So it's different. Now, what you track RSI momentum with CVD, you see market orders. So CVD shows you market longs or market shorts coming into the market. If the line moves up, there's more people buying in that particular candle if the line moves up compared to people selling. And if the line moves down, there's more people selling in that candle than people are buying. And you can see this move live, right? So as price is moving here and the candle is not finished, CVD here, this line will move. Here, you can see it, right? It just moved down a little bit. So what happened? Someone just sold, right? Just before the candle closed, apparently. So you can see what's happening in the moment, which is something that I like. I like to be very precise. I like stuff now. I don't really like lagging indicators, momentum indicators, that sort of stuff. I prefer using CVD. And what CVD is then famous of or about is absorption. So if you have a lower high on, like for example here, if you have a lower high on price, right? So a lower high, but CVD is moving up. Now with the explanation I just gave you, it means, of course, context is important, but lower high on price, higher high on the CVD, meaning more people are buying here. So people are market buying. There's more people buying here than there were people buying here. But price did not take the high. So even though more people are buying, there's no strength to move price above the high here, where less people were buying. So what you can see is that someone or a bigger position is absorbing the market longs, which is the line moving up, with a bigger limit short. And once longs are exhausted, it increases probabilities, right? Or this stuff in general increases then the probabilities to move towards the downside and look for price to move down. And then the moment the low is taken, probabilities play out, and here we are now. Now, if you want to know all the details about CVD, I recommend to go to my YouTube channel, as I made a whole video in detail about it. which is here. So there you go, this one. And also in Discord, if you have interest in using CVD, then I have a one-pager for you, so you can download that one, and my template is here as well, so you can have the exact same stuff as I look at now. Of course, you can customize it to your liking, and make it the way you like it. I just use two lines that I have been using for a very long time, so I got used to it. Some people use 4 CVD lines, others only use 1. Some people use Binance, the other Bybit, the other XYZ. It just depends on what you're used to. Can we consider an expand? Yeah, so expanding leading diagonal is very rare, never preferred unless all of the other stuff fails, which includes an expanding diagonal from the 16th, which is this. So no, very low probabilities that this turns out in an expanding diagonal. Also, your wave 3 is too high for an expanding leading diagonal. Yeah. Yusef, welcome. Good evening, Koens. I'm confused with the difference in FIB levels. Please, can you check your chart type? I think yours is regular, not logarit. Yes, mine is indeed. You can see it if I remove my webcam. Or are you talking about the weekly? Because there are tricks that I use at times on higher time frames. So on a higher time frame, I'm actually not sure if my FIB there is log or linear. It might be linear because I prefer to use the lower target and have a lower invalidation, which means it's safer compared to maybe the log FIB. But I would need to know what time frame you're talking about. June is the worst month for the stock markets. I think probabilities are boredom for the summer. We might get a nice volatile summer. Yeah, who knows? All probabilities. So 5-minute time frame right now. I always like the 3-minute and the 15. I do have others in the top, but I like the 3-minute and the 15. So probably on the 5-min here, not on the 3-min, but yeah, on the 5-min you have higher low, lower low. Price is taking its sweet time. Doesn't run on the Mac. I see. A leading indicator. Yeah, I guess. Live indicator, leading indicator. I guess. Yeah, it's you see the info right now. So, and that's what I like, to be more precise. What's up, Bones? How are you doing? Hottentotten, live indicator. In German, yeah. Exo charts to find absorption. Yeah, you can of course use order flow as well. Yeah, so let me explain what Yusef very nicely figured out. Because I do use some tricks. Let me see if I already did it with this or only the other one. Yeah, okay. Let me check the other one. Oh yeah, should actually use this one then. So, wait, is this now on log or not log? It is, it isn't. And then this one here, this one isn't. Oh yeah, I could put it on log. So what I sometimes do on a weekly time frame, it's actually interesting because this one should be on log. With regards to targets, so price had this candle right inside this target box, and the target box is, the fibs are not on log, even though my chart is on log. But that's because I like my target box to be high at the moment, as price is quite high. Now what I tend to do, which is actually the other way around, is now my fibs are on log, so you can see the targets are now lower. How can I explain this? Because it's the other way around. So I probably need another example. I'm just going to draw it instead of having a scenario. So what I tend to do is give myself a little bit more flexibility. It's usually something for lower time frames. Well spotted, Yusef, by the way, with the fibs here. So if you have a move to the upside and you get a retracement, right, and then eventually you look for continuation, I like to use the lower invalidation level. So sometimes if you're working on a log chart, your linear fib might have a lower invalidation than the log fib. So then I like to use the linear invalidation, even though I then use the log fib targets, because the invalidation, right, of the log fibs, if this is your log target area with the fibs and your invalidation on the log is here, but your linear invalidation with the same pool is here, I prefer to use the linear invalidation because it gives even more certainty. So I'll keep an eye on both, but it just gives even more probabilities that it's correct. It's more something I do in the lower time frame. It's actually interesting. I put the fibs on my chart and then I never look at them, but I might actually have to just do this here. Let me keep it on the chart like this now. Thanks, Yusef. Nice one. Gives a little bit of a bigger area to the downside, 42.8. So it's usually something you will see me do on lower time frames, give myself a little bit more flexibility. It's also something I tend to do with 618s, right? So if you have a wave 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and you get your wave 3 to the upside. Now, this could be a wave A, B, and a wave C, right? So naturally, if you're looking for your first 4 or 5, you would take the 618 from the low, the recent low, to the high, and toggle on this, because that's your invalidation for your first wave 4. What I tend to do, however, is to take the 618 from the first retracement to the high. Now, as you can see now, the 618 is a bit lower, and it just gives more certainty. So instead of being, okay, wave 4 is invalidated, because you never know, there might be some small little ranges to the upside and short wave 4s, I give myself a little bit more probability by keeping an eye on the bigger 618 that is taken from this low instead of that low. So that is something I tend to do. It's mainly local, like on the lower time frames. Ace winner. Many of the got long at 67.55. 67. I mean, it's a great entry. Manage it well though. Many of the best entries for shorting and longing tend to happen when I'm sleeping or at work. Makes it tough because Bitcoin tends to make the move and then do a fake out once it hits a target. Yeah, what to say? So for example, I have some people in the community as well that live in Australia, and for them it's quite tough to trade New York because it's nighttime. And New York can have bigger moves. But yeah, you got to, of course, work with what you have or move to another city. Or develop a plan that matches the price action in a time zone. Yeah. It's, of course, annoying if you're in bed and you're missing out on moves. You can, of course, put limit orders in place, but then you need a clear plan and an invalidation if you use the limit orders. But yeah, thanks again, Youssef. I'm gonna keep the log fibs there. I think I must have just missed it or forgotten, because now the invalidation is even lower, which is actually better. And it's a weekly time frame, so log is recommended anyway. This innovation, could this be a regular flat wave C reaching 61.6 and then a potential move up again with Alt 4? 61, a regular flat wave C. So then you're talking about an A, B, C. Regular flat needs to go below your A. Now, what really reduces probabilities for, I guess you're talking about this. So what really reduces probabilities for a flat is that you have a flat in B. But 1 second, I want to check something else as well. Oh. Yeah, okay. So first of all, yeah, so you didn't hit the 0.9. Of course, wave A has to be a 3-wave structure, not a 5-waver. And if we would use this pivot, it would look very much like a 5-waver, counted on the lower time frames. It counts better as a regular flat finished here. And then you would have an ABC. Two things. The 0.9 is a hit from the high to the low, which is a minimum target for a flat. And secondly, a flat wave B in a bigger flat is extremely rare. By far most common, you're going to be looking for zigzag family structures, and in a wave B. Anything else than a zigzag in a wave B of a flat is typically rare. So zigzag, double zigzag, triple zigzag. Of course, a zigzag has the highest amount of probabilities, and then a double, and then a triple, because that's how it works. So, yeah. Crazy Potato, we got some bearish CVD building on the 15 minutes. Yeah, the bigger bearish CVD hasn't played out yet, neither does the bullish actually. So we're still going absolutely sideways. Now, when we talk about, I'm not sure if you talk about this, but this bearish CVD here, this wouldn't be relevant. So we have here higher high in yellow and then green candle. But you can see the wick of this green candle went above this green candle. And you have the red candle, so lower high between the candles, higher high on the CVD. But you want to see the details. So I then recommend to go to a 5-minute or a 3-minute chart so that you have a lot more insight here. And then be like, okay, do we have bearish here or do we have bullish here? Instead of looking at this from a 15-minute. On the 15-minute, preferably again, we want to see at least some waves and some details. So then it's like, okay, lower high on price, and then higher high on the CVD. So we have a bearish CVD here. We also have the bullish one, higher low, and oh no, that one is now validated because we took this low. But previously, when price was here, higher low, lower low, invalidated because price took this low here. So I personally would suggest moving into 3 or 5 minute to see structures instead of using 15 here, and then zoom out for 15. So you see a bit more context. One single letter gave it a hint. It's all about the letters in Elliott Waves, no? What's up, Mark? How you doing, man? You're an Aussie. Okay, yeah, there you go. Yeah, talk to Johnny in the group. John HBG. He's from Australia. Liquid Mafia as well. Simon, I am starting to think we'll range until news on Thursday. Won't be surprised. Hopefully we, by that time, either take the local range low or high, preferably the low first. And then see if we can bounce at support. I probably have to just put a box here. So it's pretty much the last area anyway. And then I can also remove it, and remove it. And there we go. East coast of the US. Muhammad. I tried the website in your bio to learn. Can you make a video on types? I can't say too much yet, but anyone that has questions about can you make a video about a pattern, about fit time, targets, I am prepping something for you, which is a present. And it took me a lot of hours. And as we speak, I have one recording left to finish something. I don't want to say that. And then it's only going to be additional stuff that I can make later. But I am working on something that is going to be public for everyone. And it's going to be a very big announcement, which hopefully will benefit many of you. So I already made, 1 second, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, wait, no, recount. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I already made 16 videos. Sure. One more, actually 2 more. Wait, 2 more. And I need this one as well. Or am I going to do it in one? I can do it in one. Yeah, I'll probably do it in one. So one more, arguably. And then the rest can be additional. That's not required, but I like to add it. So in other words, I am working on something that will help people with Elliott Waves, which is going to be public and free, where the memberships will change a little bit in the meaning of memberships as well. I mean, in general, silver is the short-term updates, so that that stays the way it is. Gold is very much focused on asking me questions, getting feedback, and also have a look at, if someone says, I have this alt and I tried this count, can you have a look at it? And then during a live stream for gold, for example, I'll look at the alt and I look at the lower time frame. So it's a lot more feedback, asking questions, those type of things. And Diamond is all about making a plan, having a plan, building statistics, where I share different documents on that help with building statistics, step-by-step guide on building a plan. My data-driven plan is in there as well. Elliott Wave setups, how can I say this better? Ideas / potential setups are shared in there, but also publicly in the Koen Setups channel. So the Koen's Trades channel is public, so you got to go there first, check out the steps if you scroll up a little bit, and then you get into the Koen Setups channel. But I'm working on something big coming as well for all of you. I mean the flat C in the current last down wave, more micro, hit and finish. Oh, the 618 fib. I thought it's 61.6K because you didn't write fib. So I guess you're talking about this one. So we hit the 618 here, yes. And we have the 618 here. This 618 would invalidate a wave 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This 618 is just support. Doesn't really have any other function than it's just support, but it doesn't give higher or lower probabilities to a finished structure. This one does. So hit the 618 above and probabilities increase unless you take the low. But if you move up first, a wave 4 would be invalidated. If you take the low first, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is going to be a scenario that we're going to look for, and then a potential bounce at support for a retracement, either a continuation or a retracement and then continue down. That's going to be your two scenarios. Finishing an impulse here on the lower time frames, if we are, so in your case, right, if we have an impulse down, we need 5 waves in an impulse. Now this here is your biggest range at the high, but we never had another range that was the same length in time. So therefore, one would, in an impulse, preferably count this as a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, highest amount of volume in the 3, by the way, and then 4, 5, 4, and then look for another 5, creating a wave 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. So preferably, for an impulse, you actually take the low one more time. And if you hit the 618 first before taking the low, yeah, I mean, wave 4 is invalidated, so then we won't be looking for wave 4 anymore, and we're going to be looking for other structures. Time-wise, this high here is made at the 3 fib time. So yeah, if you take out this high, first of all, you'll hit the 618, invalidating a wave 4. Secondly, you will then also make a new high after the 5 fib time, potentially even the 6, which also lowers probabilities for a wave 4 compared to this being a 2. Now, yeah. If this, however, is your low and you look for bullish continuation, touching an 886 is not great because it's so rare for a wave 2, and this is very much a 3-wave structure. Something to note. Cheers, Crazy Potato. Most of our waking hours are spent in the middle of zones and traps. Man. I mean, it's a beautiful country, but yeah, trading wise, not ideal. You can always move to Europe, you know. 11.5, yeah. 11.5. It's ridiculous. I actually got a message, or someone wrote a comment today. Wait 1 second. Let me get it here. So someone wrote a comment saying, you know, you would have more viewers if you did more altcoins. There's a lot more people in alts than Bitcoin due to how much one Bitcoin costs compared to some alts. Yeah, doesn't understand investing or trading. Just saying, that's the only reason why your channel is getting nowhere. You need to expand it. And I'm like, wait, is it getting nowhere in 1 year from like 0 to 10K? While the average is to go from 0 to 1K in 2 years. I'm like, what do you mean? So I replied to him, of course. I do once in a while like to reply to these type of messages. And I do alts as well. Every Sunday is altcoin stream. I probably have to write that in the banner of my channel. So every Sunday is altcoin stream. Unless I can't on Sunday, then it's going to be Saturday. And if I can't in the weekend, it's gonna be another day. You know, I'll communicate it. But yeah, we're getting into the alts with the altcoin Sundays, of course. We've done 3 episodes now, I think. Yeah. 3 episodes finished. So this range locally continues to move sideways. Pain in the ass. Oh, this like makes me think of that meme where there's this like stick guy with the stick poking at Bitcoin and be like, "Yo, come on, like do something." In the time we're live, price has moved a staggering. Like I went live somewhere here, so I think this is pretty much the range. A staggering is $730, which sounds a lot. Like 700. It's like 1%, and then we've been ranging here, doing absolutely nothing. Yeah. Oh wait, 15. I prefer moving up. I wanna have less noise. I don't like all the noise on the lower time frames at the moment. Keep it like this. The 1 hour is a nice place to be. It's also just less stressful. You know, like all those candles, like up down up down up down. Like it's yeah. Have you ever been told what your name means in Persian? I do know that in some language, my name is means cow. Ashley, did you laugh because of yeah in some language yeah. What? Okay, my wife, she listening, always listening in. Okay, Koen means park or public garden. In Dutch, it's a name for mills. Guess what? In Jidgis, corner or nook, king. Oh, we like that one. Wait, I also thought there was a language that was cow. Wait, uh, does it also mean cow in a certain language? Danish. Oh, there you go. Okay, it's spelled a little bit different. Oh, yeah, there you go. There you go. So yeah, cow. I mean, pick your poison, no? I like the German one though. So yeah, I'll stick with that one. Oh, oh wow. For a cow as we speak. Yeah, there we go. We got ourselves a new emote for the channel. I mean, look, raccoon has the coon pronunciation, which cow is missing, but the name means cow in another language. I mean, the price action is quite similar to the 23rd of January. By the way, welcome, Ultron. 23rd of January. Ah, that range. Yeah. Let's have a look. So here we've been, how can I say, we have our move down, yes, but we got a bigger move up, also a sharp move, right? Like an impulsive move. 1 2 3 4 5. The one we have now is a bit three wave-ish, but I do get the similarity. Up, down. In that case, we would now be, arguably, we would be here in that case, right? So what you're then looking for is up, down, up, down. Now, this is not a triangle count, by the way. This is a multi 1-2 on the lower time frames. Where is the... I'm so blind. Ah, there we go. Price doesn't repeat, but it can of course rhyme. Yeah, so in that case, where we are now would then be the low here, right? That's what you're looking for. In other words, the probabilities mentioned earlier in the live stream remain very important. Don't take the low, don't hit this high, and you know we have probabilities to continue up. The moment you take 66k, that's the moment a lot of probabilities are changing, as if you take this low, very likely you're going to touch this high because there's not much left, which switches the probabilities on the higher time frames from bullish to bearish. So as long as you stay above it, yeah, that's going to be your hope for the bulls. Now in that case, because that structure back in the day was a bit of a triangle structure, even though it's not counted as a triangle, but you could get a triangle form where this looks three wavy, but then you will count it as in a bullish scenario, as in back in the day, because that was a multi 1-2, right? So you want to then count it as a wave 1, wave 2, even though it looks three wavy. 1, 2, finish 2, another 1, another 2, maybe another 1, another 2. Everyone is going to come out with their trend lines and their triangle like talking, and then you get a very big wave 3 to the upside. Definitely something to keep an eye on. Yeah, it's too early. It's too early, but if you continue ranging here, right? Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely correct. That's something to keep in mind. Nice find as well, yeah. Your channel is doing great. Thanks, Obil. I mean, in the end, it's all thanks to all of you hanging out, trading, enjoying Elliott Waves, probably also the probabilities. You're not for the masses, you're for the classes. Thanks, Tibetan. Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I at least know there's over 200,000 people interested in Elliott Waves. So there's many out there, and yeah, I don't know. Hopefully people while watching also learn a thing or two. Very much focused on education as well. London closes in 15 minutes in this case. But yeah. How do you label the fifth that we are in now? So in my case, I would just wait for price to then take the low. I don't really want to get involved too much in counting the lower time frames here because it's messy price action. So what I would do for now is just wait. And if price takes the low, that is when I start to get interested to see, okay, you know, how do we count it? We have some support. If we find support here and move up, that is the moment where we then count a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So even without counting the sub waves, just by taking the low before touching the 618, if you find support here and get a bounce, we're just going to label it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then on the lower time frames, probably by now you're going to be thinking about some diagonal structure because of a lot of overlap here. This is 5-minute stuff, which I also don't enjoy. However, I mean, I like the puzzle. I just generally don't really like hanging out on lower time frame. 5, range, up, 3, 4, 5. I'm afraid though that you did hit the golden pocket, so that's a bit of an issue. That's not nice. Well, that's the problem with the lower time frames. So if this is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, your wave 4 hit the golden pocket. Well, it invalidates a wave 4. It's a nice scenario though. In that case, I might have to look more. Sus as fuck. What's up, Dave? Dave always coming in hot, yo. So we do have a bit of a diagonal, of course, in the beginning. And then we get a bit of a messy structure here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, you could have a finished 5 waver, but then again we hit the golden pocket. We don't if we do that. Did we hit it here? Yeah, we did. W, X, Y. Of course, we like, besides an ABC here, we can still move into W, X, Y for your wave 4, and then move down in your 5, right? W, X, Y's generally are very messy, complex structures. So the first diagonal down looks pretty good. It's just that what comes after here now that's messy. Bit of bearish CVDs, bullish turning bearish. It's like, this is like just stupid stuff, right? I don't like to look at CVD divergences when this happens. You have bullish here, but you also have bearish on yellow. Like, yeah, sideways range. In Farsi, it's not a good word. Uh-oh. What does it mean? I'm not even sure if you can write it in English. Maybe YouTube is banning it. Cheers, Desinnovation. Yeah, I mean, so far so good. Percentage wise, of course, we're flying more than Bitcoin does, but hey, from 15k to 30 was 100%, which we have done as well many times. From 1 to 2 is of course 100%, but yeah, nonetheless, it's you got to enjoy the journey, you know, wherever we go. I have no idea, but I really enjoy live streams, which is probably the reason I always hang out for so long and answer questions. I love live streaming and making videos, helping people with Elliott Waves, and you know. And I guess if you enjoy what you do, and of course trading is one of the things that I do myself, and then I have YouTube, but I'm also a global keynote speaker, so I am a speaker as a entrepreneur, I suppose. My in my background industry, right, the gaming and esports industry for 17 years. So I'm a global keynote speaker, and then yeah, somehow YouTube 1 year ago, and here we are now. Things can go crazy, no? Of course, trading already for a bit longer, but you get questions, you explain, you make videos, and now we're here. What do you think about a scenario in which we are forming a C wave that would create a new low below 56.57? Valid scenario, but it will only get higher probabilities compared to bullish scenarios if you take 65.5k, which invalidates an impulse to the upside 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the bullish scenario, and a double 1, 2 is not looking great. So yeah, that also explained in the analysis. No, formerly known as Koens. Did the Oracle spoke already? Not today. Yesterday at the high, she said down. I mean, well, Oracle has spoken, but I haven't asked her today yet. That you baked cookies. My wife actually baked protein balls recently, which was very nice. So we ate lots of protein dishes. I actually get hungry, but yeah, it's time to go soon as well. We're online for 2 hours already. But yeah, the protein balls were very nice. I saw you missed 1K per minute candle scenario. The 1K per minute candle scenario. You mean this one? The 1 second K? The 1K per second? This one here? Yeah, I don't look at that candle. What's up, Jeremy? How you doing? Good morning, offline. What's up? Offline, online. Online now. It's Bud in Farsi. Okay, well, at least there you go. There you go. I can speak a bit of Farsi. I just say my own name. Hi, my name is Bud. Yeah, there you go. What's up, Cyril? How's it going? Yeah, chilling by now. Just prices doing nothing. What to do? Well, of course. What's up, Bettina, by the way? What to do depends on your plan. So I'm not in a position to say what someone should do. I can only talk about probabilities from an Elliott Wave point of view. Right. No certainties in trading. So with regards to what to do, the best thing to do is create a plan on the 1 hour, on the 4 hour. And if it's difficult for you to make a plan at the moment, just wait for a bit more information and price action and then make a plan after. So you need a trading plan, right? Everyone needs their own personal plan. Bettina received the package. There you go. So you got the hoodie. Finally. Nice. Nice. There you go. Pleasure, Bettina. Good to hear. By the way, for making a plan, right, follow the 6 steps that I often talk about, okay? So step 1, try as many free tools as you can. First, build experience in the market by analyzing the chart. Step 2, find some of your favorite tools and build statistics on them. Get your Excel sheet out. Step 3 is combine some of those favorite tools and now build statistics on the combination. So now you're really building a strategy. And then step 4 is tweaking, adjusting. So add a tool, remove a tool, build more statistics, try to improve risk to reward ratio or your win rate, hit rate, whatever. And then step 5 is start trading it with a low amount of money and work on your trading psychology. Because oftentimes people that have a plan, once it comes to executing, still lose. But that's the head. So work on trading psychology in step 5, and step 6 is increase your portfolio size slowly to get used to bigger losses. I only came for the 6 steps. It's a legendary moment in every live stream. How many grams of protein per serving? Good question. Didn't even ask. I just ate them. The channel is great. I know a few Elliott Wave teachers, but they often let their emotions get mixed in on targets. Rarely works out well for the followers. Yeah. It's all probabilities. I don't care if price goes up or down. I trade both ways, and whenever price is not clear on a time frame, then we're neutral. We just wait for more info. But of course, because I update 3 times a day, whenever things change, I can quite quickly communicate it in the next time, like in the next video. So, but yeah. emotions, they don't do well. If you're very stuck to our price is going to like 45k, and yeah, I mean, maybe, but at the moment there is no reason to think about 45 yet, as long as you don't take 65.5 minimum. So yeah. Where to post photos? At Mark Dodge. Of the hoodie, you mean? General chat, DM. No, depends. What's your new trade setup gonna be? Are you in the Koen Setups channel, Muhammad? So for now, I like, as long as I don't post something new there, I'm not really looking at anything new. So yeah, probability locally 886 touch as well remains high to sometime take that double bottom and then take it from there. But the longer we range here, right, the longer we stay here, the more bullish it is. It would be nice to have a 5 down and take the low, but then we can at least count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it increases probabilities, because of the range, increases probabilities to then bounce and see a reversal to the upside, or at least a bounce to the upside, whatever happens after. I do. How do I go there? Well, first of all, it's important to know that in the end, it's an educational channel where I explain why a setup is interesting. It doesn't mean I trade the setup, but I explain there's a setup here, right? A potential setup. It's interesting because ta. And the aim is to help people understand how to trade Elliott Waves. And then depending on local reactions, which is something I use besides Elliott Waves, depending on the local reactions, I might enter or not. But that's everyone for themselves in the end. I'm going for a run. Have fun, maybe a Band-Aid. Enjoy your run. How do you get there though? If you go to Discord, then you have the Koens Trades channel. And then you scroll, then this is what you see, and then you scroll up a bit, and then you read that. Oh, I have to update this, because besides just BingX, anything here works. This is completely new, opened pretty much last night, but I announced it today at least. So my main trading platform, spot trading, also for US, UK, NL, so for Dutchies, also trading wise, below FinBTC. I'm also working with a decentralized exchange. This is based on feedback, so I listen to the community as that's my aim as much as I can. And BingX is moving towards KYC this year. And I know some people don't like KYC, so I added 2 non-KYC options based on feedback, talking with the community. And Bybit is well known, and even though you can't trade futures in the Netherlands, you can trade spot on Bybit. So if someone registers, puts in $100, then send me an email, send me your UID, and I'll add you in the channel. That's pretty much it. Getting a spike on Binance. Yeah, it's not really doesn't really want to go down yet. I don't know. We'll see. Interesting range so far. 1K candle scenario incoming. Oh, maybe. Okay, I think after 2 hours and 12 minutes, we have done a lot of talking, a lot of chatting, and price for now is still in the range here. The analysis of earlier hasn't really changed, right? We keep an eye on the 618 and locally, and the 886 probabilities that are always important. Hitting the 618 here and the wave 4 is invalidated, so that increases probabilities to look for higher prices at a later stage, even if you do move down once more. But the 886 increases the probabilities this move up is corrective, not impulsive, increases the probabilities to take the double bottom at some stage, in whatever scenario that's going to be. So patience is very much being tested. A lot of patience, skill of a trader. How high before invalidation going down? If you hit the 618, the wave 4 is invalidated at 68.9k. So that would be an invalidation for your wave 5 to the downside in an impulse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All-time high, is there in this room with us or not? Is the all-time high in the room with us? I don't know. Maybe someone has to change the name to all-time high. Yeah. Okay, sorry, I was typing. I also have to go though, because I have to do some other stuff anyway. So yeah. Okay, well, that being said, the 0 hit on the Binance spot. Yeah, I prefer to see it hit on my chart as well though. Maybe we'll hit it. We'll see. So, but the only bullish scenario here would be a bigger diagonal, because you touch the 886. This looks like a three-wave structure. I mean, this doesn't look like an impulse. A double 1-2 is invalidated because you move below the low here. So higher probability this is corrective in a three-waver. Oh. There's still the potential for some sort of a triangle. You continue this range sideways, but yeah, we'll see. The probabilities haven't changed, mentioned in the analysis. So, okay. Whew. 2.5 hours down the line. Thanks everyone for being here. Enjoy the remainder of your day. Tonight will be a normal update video. So, as usual, about 8 to 10, maybe 12, who knows, minutes of content. See what price is going to give us in the meantime, if it will show us anything and give us something different. And yeah, you know where probabilities aren't changing, which is most important. So as long as price does not take out the 66k low, arguably, you know, the probabilities remain higher for bullish scenarios. But yeah, the longer price range is here, the more bullish it is. Hit the 618, wave 4 invalidated. If we do move down, could be looking for a bounce here. No, everything is communicated earlier. This does look like a three-wavy structure. Not too happy about this being an impulse, but we continue to observe in this complex sideways ranging structure. So, hats and light beards. I don't know, maybe. Yo, thanks everyone. Cheers. I'm gonna catch you at the next one.